Hello and welcome back to the GameShow Invitational here on GameShow EN. This is going to be Game 3 of a best-of-3 series between Burden United and Goomba Gaming. Whoever wins this game is going to go on to face against Moscow 5 in the second round of the lower bracket of the tournament, and whoever loses ends up going home. So this is an important game for both of these teams. I'm GrandisV. This game I'm not going to be joined by Heflamoke, but instead it's going to be Mr. Blackadder, an improvement if you ask me.
Glad you think so, man. Good to be here. This should certainly be an interesting game, don't you think?
Absolutely. The first two games were very back and forth, very hectic engagements, but I think the takeaway is just whoever got picked off less ended up winning the game. Game number one, that ended up being Goomba. Burden United had a lot of farm on their anti-mage, but they just lost him one too many times and lost all of their barracks. In game number two, the combination of the Darkseer and the Slaughter, really nice initiations in general coming out from Goomba's, or from Burden, excuse me, is what took the win over Goomba. So game three, I think it's anybody's game, really. Another shakeup inside the bands. We're going to see Io and Tusk taken away, so we're back to what we saw in game number one with Queen of Pain and Leshrac for either side.
Both of these heroes are there for a reason. They're in this meta so damn powerful. I've seen Leshrac more often than not lately. I've seen it in Hands of London Conspiracy lately as well, and I've just done wonders with Lesh. Such a powerful hero, and the lightning is just a lot of damage that you can't really stop or do anything against.
Yeah, absolutely. He does require a little bit of protection, but I think a hero like Earthshaker would be more than capable of protecting the Leshrac inside the mid lane. EDE throughout all of the games has played a pretty spot-on Earthshaker, even though it didn't work out for them in game number two. Instead, it's going to be a Gyro, another one of those powerhouse heroes, but another one that is also on the squishy side. They'll both build to shore up that weakness, but it is something that Burden can abuse.
Yeah, true, they can abuse it in the early game, especially with the pure damage of a Queen of Pain and that Sonic Wave. It's quite a big problem for Goomba, but if they weather the early storm, they will build into such a heavy onslaught of health and armor that it's going to be very hard for Queen of Pain and the rest of the Burden United lineup to really accomplish anything. But with this Winter Wyvern, they're certainly setting up for a very defensive style of play.
Yeah, or just in general a hero that can enable other heroes to go aggressive, even though it's not an aggressive hero by itself. With the Glimmer Cape and with the Cold Embrace backup, heroes like Queen of Pain can really go in without any regard for their own lives and just burst down the target and then trust fall into the Winter Wyvern to help them heal and get out of there with a blink. So, although it is a hero that is generally played pretty defensively, it can enable other heroes to go on the aggressive path.
What's the running joke? You pick Winter Wyvern to stop your carries from throwing the game. I think that's the iconic one with Havost, at least. But in this game, we're going to see some more bands come out. Earthshaker banned out, as well as the Spirit Breaker by Burden. And by Goomba, they're going to remove the Darkseer and the Huskar.
I'm always sad when teams ban out the Huskar. I think he's a hero that really deserves to be picked up more, but it kind of feels like he's going to be forever stuck in the second ban slot. It's really not worth first banning him out, as he's very easy to work around, but once you've already committed pretty heavily into match damage, as Goomba have with the Gyro and the Lesh, I think it's worthwhile to take him off of the table.
Yeah, I certainly think so as well. He can be quite the powerhouse if he starts to build momentum, but not in this game. For Goomba, in their third pick, we've got a Leshrac, we've got a Gyrocopter. Where do you think we're going to be going with their the third and fourth picks?
Well, the safe pick would have been the Earthshaker, but that's banned out. They're going to need some of their supports, but a lot of the top tier ones have been taken away, so I'm not exactly sure where Goomba are going to go ahead and fall back on. Really, their standout heroes, the Earthshaker and the Spirit Breaker, and Game 1 and Game 2 have been denied from them, so really I think it's just up to them. It's going to be something a little bit further out of their comfort zone.
Fair enough, fair enough. We're certainly eating well into Goomba's time, and with a Leshrac most likely in the mid lane, Gyrocopter in the safe lane, Rubik, we're going to be looking for some spell steal and control, it seems. A very good defensive support, or offensive on occasion, but as it stands, good amount of control, and you can just pick up a target, throw it into a split earth, and let everything die.
Pretty much. Really nice setup in general, and getting your hands on something like a Blink is amazing. But as far as the other spells to steal, it doesn't seem like there's anything super amazing, although Cold Embrace is always something nice to have in your repertoire. I think in general, this is just anything with a setup stun that's ranged for Goomba. The Keeper of Light pickup for Burden United is another one of those supports is going to be on the passive train and can delay the game out pretty much indefinitely with Illuminate spam, but also is fuel for a hero that can constantly spam out spells, maybe like a Queen of Pain or something like a Phantom Lancer could be pretty nice, even though Goomba do have quite a lot of AoE clear.
I could see a Phantom Lancer still, to be honest, considering he can do apart a hero like a Rubik. If you get on top of the gyro, sure, you've got Rocket Barrage there, which is nasty, but with the number of illusions a Phantom Lancer can spawn, it generally can be dealt with. The Leshrak's the only one that can really go against the Phantom Lancer heavily, and even then, if you go on top of the Leshrac with a diff, the Leshrac's going to have a very nasty time. So I'd say that would still be an opportunity, but Keeper of the Light certainly just to fuel the mana pools of these heroes for burden.
Alrighty. Still a lot of different directions these teams can go in. I have honestly no idea what they're going to pick up for chill, but there's the hero. It's going to be a Clockwork for Goomba.
Okay, and that's going to be immediately responded with by an anti-mage, however. And an anti-mage, I can't say I expected, but if you look at the heroes for Goomba, the anti-mage can chew quite a few of them apart, and Leshrac is, in some ways, a walking mana bomb if he starts to chew through his mana with that Pulse Nova active.
Yeah, we saw that in game number 1. The mana voids were absolutely spectacular. And it is a hero that Burden United do like playing. Goomba Gaming's lockdown is not very reliable outside of the Rubik telekinesis, but their chain lockdown is definitely there. It's a scary game to be the anti-mage, but let's see if Burden United can redeem this hero. In game number 1, he got an insane amount of farm, but it didn't feel like he was able to fight effectively enough. Maybe this game's different.
It could certainly be different, and it's going to be interesting to see how this anti-mage actually skills, because there are some variants. There's the Chinese style where you go 1-1-1, stats, alt. There's the tweak on that where you get 2 points in the mana break, so you can be a bit more aggressive. The way you can skill an anti-mage will sort of dictate how you want to play it. I mean, sure, you want to sit back and farm, yes, but how aggressive do you want to get in the early game with that anti-mage is the question.
I think this game I'd probably more favor the 2-1-1 build up against a Clockwork. He can be left pretty safely alone, as long as the Clockwork doesn't have mana for his spells, and if you just have a little bit of extra mana burn, that's very easy to accomplish. So, yeah, whatever the anti-mage wants to do, I think is going to be, at the very least, acceptable. He's just going to need a lot before he can fight effectively. Early on, anti-mage doesn't have the health pool, even with a lot of points into Spell Shield, to deal with the burst damage from a Lush Gyrocopter. Last stage ban's going to come out with Disruptor and Broodmother from either side.
Again, a ban on a Brood. I see this all the damn time, and I think that's a good thing. No spiders in this game, and that's a trend that will continue from all of the games I've cast lately. Hefla kept saying we would see Broodmothers. We never saw a Broodmother.
It's something that you don't want to pick up early on because it is fairly counterable, but it's also something you never want to play against. Fifth pick is really where Broodmother shines. It's kind of akin to the Huskar.
I suppose I can agree to that. But now, last pick for Goomba. They've got 44 seconds of their reserve time left. They've got their offlane. They've got their cores. We're looking for something either to go into the jungle or to support with this Rubik, assuming we don't see the rare Gyrocopter support, which I've only ever seen the North American scene run, and that was a couple of patches ago.
Alrighty, Goomba, no matter what they're going to pick, is going to be shown very quickly. Maybe something like a Skyrath Mage could be good, but it's another one of those mana bombs for the Anti-Mage.
Yeah, and the mana bomb heroes for AM, you've really got to respect the anti-mage, because if he can catch anyone with that mana void, it's going to just be a complete apocalypse. But now, I'm wondering if we're not going to see potentially an Enigma, but no, it's going to be a Beastmaster. So how are they going to run this Beastmaster, I wonder?
Maybe they're going to throw him into the jungle, but yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome. And throw the Beastmaster mid. Up against the Queen of Pain, it can be a little bit of a struggle of a lane, but he's fairly self-sufficient. Last pickup for Burden United is going to be a Phoenix. Alrighty then. I'm not sure who I really favor as far as these drafts are concerned. I really do like seeing the Lesh played in a farming role, and do like seeing him get some extra bit of space. Maybe there'll be some sort of lane switch up later down the line once Beastmaster gets his levels up.
That can certainly be the case.
Actually, the Leshrac was played in the first game mid by Rectal General, so maybe this is going to be a jungle or support Beastmaster.
That is a bit more unorthodox, but certainly could work. It depends on what Goomba really want to accomplish and do in this game. I was thinking with this kind of lineup, you could put the Beastmaster potentially mid or off lane, and then have the support Lesh to combo with the Rubik, who can just telekinesis into a Split Earth. But if it's a mid Lesh, the question becomes, what is this Beastmaster going to do? Since it's going to be Clockwork in the off lane, we're pretty sure, but the Beastmaster is now a question mark.
Yeah, definitely. So both of these supporting duos are not ones that you see roam very effectively, so I think that's going to give a little bit more space for the Beastmaster to farm, but It's going to be an interesting game, to say the very least. To introduce our lineups on the Anti-Mage for the Burden United side, we're going to have Sing Sing. Boogie's going to be playing on the Phoenix. Come with me on the Keeper of Light. Necroman, it's actually Minot's going to be playing on the Winter Wyvern. And Improvement, no, it's actually Necroman going to be playing on the Queen of Pain.
They're going to just confuse me with the names. Okay, we'll roll with it. Of course, on the flip side, over for the Goomba gaming lineup, we've got Edie on that Rubik, Chill handling the Clockwork. We've got General Rectal on the Leshrac. On the Beastmaster, we have a moment, and finally picking up the Gyrocopter will be. You're going to have to fill me in for me here. I'm not sure who this is. Let's pass. We've got pass handling the Gyrocopter.
We're going to start things off pretty slow with a pause. What is there really to go over? How are these lanes going to work out? It should just be Queen of Pain mid, Anti-Mage, safe lane farming, and Phoenix into the off lane. Nothing too out of the ordinary, and I think the same can probably be said for Goomba. As long as General Rectal stays on the Leshrac is going to be farming in one form or fashion.
Yeah, and to be fair, when I consider these drafts, I suppose we have to do the tradition here, Grandis. Money, who are you betting on?
I'm really tempted to say Burden United, although I do like seeing Beastmaster played in the position 4. I think that, just in general, Burden United have heroes that scale better throughout the game. Their initiation is reasonably strong. The combination of Winter's Curse and Supernova is incredibly scary.
That much is very true. If they can get a good combination of their ultimates up, throw in a Sonic Wave and a Mana Void, something's going to die. In fact, many people are going to die very quickly. Goomba, however, their draft with the Gyrocopter, I can see what they want to accomplish. Force some early game fights. Don't give the AM the space. It's going to be hard, though, for them to really accomplish that with the style of play Burden are going to be bringing to the table here with the aggressive Queen of Pain and the defensive support of the Keeper of the Light, who can hit those very nice high damage illuminates in the early game. But I'm going to have to give my vote to Burden again. I think Burden, they have the better synergy between heroes, and they'll probably have the edge in this game.
I think the X factor, at least for me, is Goomba's initiating core, the Beastmaster and the Clockwork. If they can find good angles and really just control the tempo of the game, that's where Goomba's draft can really shine and make enough space for the Leshrac and Gyrocopter. It's still anybody's game, even though I think both of us slightly favor Burden United. It's by no means over.
Yeah, of course, I'll never call a game before it's over, but I think there's a slight edge to Burden, and when I consider how good Anti-Mage can be versus these walking mana bomb type of heroes, Leshrac, I gotta just put the money on the Anti-Mage in this case. It just feels better and more fluid in my mind.
Alrighty, so let's take a look at the early items and how these lanes are going to shake down. For now, Gyrocopter, Rubik, and Beastmaster all heading down towards the bottom lane. It looks like the track is going to be going mid with his starting items, a salve, 2 shared tangos, and all that jazz. The early bounty runes probably going to be secured bottom by Goomba, and top rune should be secured by Burden United. Although there is potential for Icarus Dive shenanigans from the Phoenix, I think that's probably unlikely. He'll place down his ward, but I don't think that was spotted out by the Rubik. Both of them are running with boots first.
I don't think that was spotted out either. That ward will give a lot of good vision, assuming they don't drop a sentry for it. And I don't actually see any sentries right now. No, we have no sentries available, so that ward's going to at least give that Phoenix some good vision in the meantime. And Boogie in the offlane role, I've seen this guy before many a time. He knows his stuff.
Absolutely. The Beastmaster is close to having his sentry money, so if he does want to commit for that, that is a possibility. Up towards top lane, Burden United are going to try to box out the Clockwork, and they're very close to him, but actually killing him off is not going to end up happening. Should just secure them a bounty rune for the Queen of Pain or the Anti-Mage, probably the Queen.
In the meantime, Boogie, he's trying to try something sneaky with a Icarus Dive, but not in this game, it seems. General Rectal will be able to find the Phoenix and just force him away. That's going to be an easy bounty rune for the Leshrac, and the Queen of Pain will get to the opposite. So both mid lanes getting the nice little bit of gold and experience from the bounties.
Yeah, pretty much an even start for both sides, unlike the first 2 games where we probably have already seen First Blood by now. Rubik's going to be sitting out inside the lane, trying to make sure that Phoenix doesn't get the range creep out in front. Looks like Boogie's having a little bit of difficulty with the block, but all of this hard work is going to be put to naught if the Rubik sticks around. He'll take the aggro from the range creep, and that makes it a lot harder for the offlaner to keep equilibrium.
Indeed it will, and as these lanes shape up, It's going to be interesting to see where the first blood actually occurs, since if the Rubik hangs around, as you say, Boogie's going to have a reasonably unpleasant time, I would feel, in this lane, especially if the Gyrocopter can pick up some early stats from items. But as it stands, with the threat of the Winter Wyvern in the mid lane, I feel like we could be seeing a Queen of Pain getting first blood on a Leshrac here if he isn't too careful.
Yeah, very easily. Probably not now, but once you take a level 3 and either get a point in Scream or a secondary point into the Dagger, that could happen. A Moment is, right now, just going for the poles, but they're going to jump very aggressively onto the Lesh. He'll eat his way down towards the south, and although slowed down to hardly any movement speed at all, it looks like he's going to survive, and will probably just salve up in a second.
The thing is, Rectal can just throw around some harassment damage, and that's a lot from just a split earth and a lightning storm. That's quite a bit of damage, forcing already a salve used by improvement.
Ooh. He actually gets the salve cancelled with the lightning storm, so that is going to be a little bit of an advantage for the Leshrac, especially considering the Wyvern committed so much time into trying to set up that kill, whereas Chill was able to get experience up towards top. Mana leaked, however, Chill is going to be forced to stand still, but it looks like he's going to end up surviving, although copping a lot of harass.
Yeah, this is quite the effective use of time here by the supports. And even with that Illuminate, they bring Chill so low, they're going to force him to use his salve as well. So a bit of damage traded across the lanes as it stands.
Yeah, really no clear advantage for either side. Burning United getting slightly more farm onto Sing Sing on the anti-mage, but Gyrocopter is no sledge either, and that's going to be a lot of damage over on the Boogie. Not wanting to spend the Icarus dive might be his demise if ED could get in range for the lift, but with boots on the Phoenix, that's not going to be the case. Still, that's all of Phoenix's regen down the tubes and slowed down by the boar. It's so annoying for the Phoenix, and this is a very dangerous game. Honestly, Rubik can just stand there and completely zone him off.
Yeah, and if the Rubik just stays in range to harass, it's going to be pretty nice for him as well, because he should be able to stay within experience range as well, get towards that level 6 as soon as possible, and Boogie could actually be in some trouble here. He's going to be a bit more harassment from Median, already forcing another Icarus dive. Boogie needs to just be very careful in this game. The downside is he has no regen right now, so he's actually going to be forced back to base.
Yeah, it's a lot of time used by the Phoenix, and really this is kind of one of the downsides with the hero. In general, it just doesn't do very much inside the laning stage. It's very experience reliant and has a difficulty finding that experience as he can't back up in the jungle. Pretty similar story for Clockwork, but in the meantime, they're going to look for a jump in mid. Double TPs from the two supports. General Rectal's looking for the stun angle, can't find it, but they'll lift up Necroman, pull him back in. Split Earth, even though it's off the mark, doesn't matter, and they get a deny on the Lesh to add insult to injury. First blood going to be drawn by a Moment.
That was pretty good play coming out of Rubik to have the presence of mind to deny his teammate as well. That was quite nice to see. And if they can keep up that level of presence of mind, it's going to be very hard for Burden United to really accomplish anything in this mid lane.
And no real time wasted either. A Moment's going to find himself a level 3, and now they TP straight back into the Leshrac. In general, he's just having a good time, although the Queen of Pain is eclipsing him inside experience and inside farm. This is a lot of time spent by the Wyvern, where they probably could have been protecting the AM, but another slow on a General Rectal, they're just not going to give this Lesh a break, and for good reason. He can snowball so very hard.
Indeed he can, and he already has his bottle, so he's going to be going well on his way towards some movement speed, probably towards 4-staff at some point as well, just to get that extra mobility, get around the map, get those stuns positioned well, and all around just have control of this middle lane. As top lane, we could actually have some trouble here. Chill's going to get slowed down by the Winter Wyvern. Sing Sing just hacking away. The Chill has no mana. This could be an easy kill here with the Illuminate to secure it. Come with me, we'll get that one.
Yeah, pretty easy kill. The Clockwork just isolated out way too far away from his creep wave, but still, he finds himself with level 4, which is better than what the Phoenix can claim to, or at least it was until Phoenix got a little bit more experience in lane. Both of these offlaners are having pretty much identical times.
Yeah, it's very rough for both of them in this case. And as far as I see it, when you've got a Gyrocopter farming up against Anti-Mage, the Gyrocopter can fight a little bit earlier, considering Sing is going to need more time in terms of getting that Battlefield up another item. But now he's actually going toe-to-toe with Chill, and Chill could actually be overstaying his mark if he isn't careful. Sing needs to back away. I don't think we've got a Rocket Flare, not for another 5 seconds, and Sing will just be able to regen up in this top lane.
Action all 3 of the lanes. A double damage rune on the Queen of Pain not only kills off the Lesh, but also secures a courier kill that was holding onto his boots and TP. That's really terrible for the Leshrac, and he might even consider buying boots. He's going to want them in the next 3 minutes, and also that insult to injury. They get the snipe on the Hawk too. The Queen of Pain has suddenly just found herself so much wind in her sails and a lot of momentum in this game.
Yeah, the amount of gold that just traded in that mid lane is quite large. The courier plus the kill and a hawk, it's an extra 60 gold on top of it. It's just all starting to become aces for improvement, it seems.
Yeah, the Queen of Pain is really a hero that can make things happen for Burden United. Phoenix, as far as offlaners are concerned, once he gets level 6, although he can fight, can't actually set up kills by himself. You kind of do need the co-op to jump in first. And now with Treads, an old Talisman as well, a Clarity flying out, and an Invis rune, things don't really get much better at 6 minutes in.
No, and we could be looking at quite the gang going up towards possibly the top lane, or maybe looking for that Leshrac again. Invis rune is going to give them quite that bit of surprise factor, and well, we do have a Sonic Wave in 1 minute as well, so we'll probably hold the rune until we've got Sonic Wave, then look to maybe assassinate that Leshrac once more. Then again, top lane, Sing being very ballsy. Chill already down to under half mana, and that's off with just a few right clicks. And we were talking about the build and AM could go in the draft. He has gone for the 2-1-1 build, the aggressive style.
Yeah, I quite like it. With the Ring of Health, he hardly loses anything going for that, but now the Queen of Pain's making that rotation with the Invis rune, and oh my goodness, easiest kill of her life. Scream and one auto attack, that's a Lesh down.
We also had an attempt on Pass's life on that bottom lane. He survived by the skin of his teeth, forced to salve up. And now you've got Boogie as Necroman, just threatening, looking for more. Edie is going to possibly burn down here if he's not careful. One more tick? No, doesn't quite get the kill on the Rubik, but still, this is unpleasant now for this bottom lane. The Phoenix and the Winter Wyvern can do quite a bit of damage together, it seems.
Gyrocopter posturing pretty aggressively down in bottom. There's no vision of him coming out from Burden United, so he's safe for now, but Poss needs to tread carefully, even though he can dish a lot of damage out in return. The Wyvern and the Phoenix surprisingly do quite a bit themselves, although there's not enough mana for Phoenix to have ultimate, even if he was sitting on that level 6 mark.
And just to remember for myself, it's actually Minot's on the Winter Wyvern. Necroman is, I believe, on the Queen of Pain.
Yes.
Just to confuse us, it seems. Yes, Grandis?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. We'll roll with it. I'll try to remember in the future, as we have a potential rotation coming out of Edie, maybe looking for that top lane rotation and help out Chill get a kill on the anti-mage. That might be a bit of a tall order, though, and it seems he's going to change his mind, head down towards the jungle, and just support a moment as well as Rectal in the jungle.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a good call. The anti-mage is too difficult to kill unless you rotate the Gyrocopter or the Lesh off of lane. That's not something that they seem to be willing to do at the moment. Top rune going to be picked up by the Queen of Pain, has a regen, and also has 2 robes of the Magi working towards that Orchid Malevolence.
As soon as we get that Orchid up, I'm expecting quite a few aggressive rotations from Necroman. He can do so much work with just the Orchid when you look at how squishy the heroes are for Goomba. The Leshrac is just food at this point, and he really needs to tank up, but he's having such a hard time doing so just because of the potential for damage out of the Burden United lineup.
Yeah, he has a Bracer, but even with the Bracer sitting at like 830 HP, for a Queen of Pain, whenever she has ultimate up, that's nothing at all.
Bot lane passes in a lot of trouble here. In comes Necroman, and that's going to be quite the easy kill for him. No way the Gyrocopter can escape this one.
And the Wyvern also needs to be careful. And Brinkman's just going to go ahead and clean up the creep wave under the tower. He has a regen, but they are going to make that rotation for the Anti-Mage. Bring in the Lesh. Do they have the lockdown? They don't. Even with the Split Earth connecting, now Queen of Pain comes back in. Her regen canceled. Doesn't have a lot of mana to work with, but it's more than enough to kill off EDE or maybe even somebody else. These are 4 heroes. This is a dangerous game, but a blink and scream. That's the end of the Rubik's life. Dominating spree for Necroman. Now slowed down. Split Earth to connect. She needs some backup. Blinks over towards the right, and we'll find it with a little bit of help from Come With Me, but one Lightning Storm kills off the Coddle, and now the hookshot jams at home. Double kill for Chill.
That is quite the show of force coming out of Goomba, having the ability to come back into that fight after losing the Rubik to the Scream. Quite a good show of force, and I'm surprised the Queen of Pain didn't commit the Sonic Wave. She had more than enough mana to do so, and that would still have killed off the Rubik and got a good amount of AoE damage there.
Down towards bottom, Gyrocopter isolates the Winter Wyvern. Very easy kill for him if he can find him without a creep wave. Beaver Knight going to be fighting up against Chill, but completely drained of mana. There's not much the AM has to worry about. In fact, he's going to go aggressive, blinking forward, has a mana void, but won't do enough damage. In fact, lifted behind the tower. They might be able to turn around. He drops the mana void, but Fade bolted down. The Anti-Mage will die to the tower. That's way too aggressive if you don't have some backup from the Wyvern.
Well, aggression and Sing Sing tend to go hand in hand, so we're going to have to expect this, and maybe a few times.
Yeah, definitely so. Just lacking a little bit of ward vision that would have kept him safe from the Rubik. expecting him to be down towards bottom helping out the gyro, but in the absence of supports, the Queen of Pain's going to go down towards bottom lane since she didn't use the Sonic Wave for the fight up in top, does have it available, so the gyrocopter needs to tread very carefully.
Indeed, Gyrocopter still doesn't have the health to really survive against a full quap burst, and it wouldn't take much for that to happen. And all it would take is a misstep in positioning, and Pass could go down. But it seems on the flip side of the coin, Goomba are going to start getting some pressure going onto this middle tier 1.
Yeah, they're going to nuke down the creep wave with the Lishrak. Phoenix is over in the sidelines, but with one Illuminate, the creep wave's pretty much dead from just that. And, well, Burn United are... Although posturing in these lanes, just trying to bide some time for the anti-mage. He has his full perseverance and treads, and that's nice and all, but still has a ways to go before he has that Battle Fury. Look down towards bottom, going to stop any tower damage there, and the call down clears up the creep wave. It kind of feels like we're still inside the laning phase. There are some rotations here and there, but everybody's just kind of farming.
They sort of need to. The Gyrocopter needs more time, so does the Anti-Mage for Burn United. They just need more time to come online, and the supports are doing a good job on both sides of delaying their farm.
Tier 1 tower down towards bottom lane. Is that about half health? The Icarus dive is going to scout in the tree line, finding nobody. I don't mean that Burden United are comfortable to just commit for this tier 1. They'll find it, but in trade, we'll lose the tier 1 in top lane. Double TP's back from Chill and Lishrak. They want to catch somebody out in the retreat, and it's going to be Necroman, or rather Minots. He's going to be warded up, hookshotted down. A lot of commitment for the Wyvern, but they get that kill, slowed down by the Fire Spirits. Chill can't do very much, but it's more than enough. That level 1 Supernova does not take very many hits to kill, and now they look forward for Necroman, running away from a missile. I believe it's only level 1, but if they land a stun, that's going to be more than enough, but the Split Earth is off the mark, hasted up. The Shrek is still pursuing, but doesn't have a lot of mana. Can't get this solo. Do they have the backup? A Flare's going to connect. The hookshot has previously been used, and a nice blinding light will buy them more than enough space. Burden United get out with only losing the Phoenix.
It does sort of come to mind of how good is Blinding Light actually in this game with the lineup Goomba have. If they get blinded on the Gyrocopter, that's going to be a pretty big problem considering he's a large chunk of the AoE damage. The Leshrak not really affected by it, but they're certainly going to need possibly an MKB on that Gyro, especially if this game goes late and Sing Sing opts for that Butterfly later on.
Good to go. It's going to come out for a moment. The game will commence. Gyrocopter power farming up inside the woods is going to find himself with a completed drum sooner rather than later. Should have it after this camp and just a little bit more. But more interesting is we have another Invis rune up for Necroman. The Queen of Pain's just been finding all of the right runes. And, well, this one's going to be a kill onto the Rubik if she can catch eyeballs on him. And we'll do that under the tier 1 tower. They have no idea the Queen of Pain is there. Oh, maybe wants a bigger fish to fry, and that would be the Lishrak. Looks like Queen of Pain's just biding the rest of the time of this Invis rune, and oh, I think she found her target. General Rectal, very low on mana, doesn't have enough for a stun even without using his wand charges, but the Queen of Pain is going to play things passively. I'm honestly very surprised she didn't commit, but Sonic Wave over the trees catches the Gyro. Well done, set up by this Dire Observer ward. Very well played.
Yeah, that ward has just made all of its vision worth its weight in gold. I mean, 50 gold, 75 gold even for that ward. That just got a kill on the main core. That is absolutely perfect. You couldn't ask for a better ward.
Yeah, it really is a great one, too, since the most common ward spots are going to be here and a little bit down further towards the south. So unless you're looking specifically for that word, you're not going to find it. So it's not even 100% guaranteed to be de-warded. They'll jump down. Yep, with the silence applied to him, they'll be able to get him even through the TP. The damage is just there. Phoenix gets the killing spree.
And even if he managed to get the TP off, he'd possibly have died in the well to the Soul Burst from the Orchid. It's that powerful when you've got that much magical damage coming through from a Queen of Pain, as well as the burn from that Phoenix.
And in the meantime, they've made plenty of space for the Anti-Mage, just a couple hundred gold away from having the completed Battle Fury on his person. Once you get that, your farm accelerates to an amazing rate. He's already sitting at about 1,000 ahead of the Gyrocopter. It's only uphill for here,
mid lane Gyrocopter, speaking of him, he gets ulted up, and the Winter's Curse. There's no way he's escaping this. That's another kill going the way of Necroman and Minots. It's such a trick on the mind when they do that. God damn it.
Yeah, it really is. Another rune set up for the Queen of Pain. This rotation is going to be spotted out by a Radiant Observe ward, so this time around probably not going to do anything. But even so, the Queen of Pain 5-1 and 2 is finding so much on this map and really is making it difficult for Goomba. If we take a direct comparison between the Lesh and the Queen of Pain, they're miles apart when it comes to net worth. Although the Lesh is going to get close towards the Yule Scepter, the threat level of Yule Scepter Lesh and an Orchid Queen of Pain is night and day in difference.
Indeed, and the Queen of Pain can just snowball and take domineering control of this game, especially when we consider she already has the Orchid, and from here on in, we could go for an Aghanims, or if she wants to go with a more right-click oriented route, I've even seen Desolator lately be an interesting pickup from a few of the pros.
Oh, deep behind enemy lines. Necroman was looking for a ward, but caught out, my goodness, added a couple of extra Ds. But he's going to be a little bit extra dead. With the Rocket Barrage damage, they had more than enough. Although they do commit Roar, it's a kill.
And a kill is a kill, but now I've got to bring up the fact we're at about 16 minutes in. Let's take a quick look at the graphs, shall we, Grandis?
Absolutely. 3,000 net worth advantage for the Burden United side, and a similar advantage in experience. Although it's not necessarily the biggest advantage you're ever going to see at this point, I think they're completely happy with it, especially if you look at how the gold is distributed. Most of it's in the pockets of the Anti-Mage and Queen of Pain. That's exactly where you want it.
And speaking of Anti-Mage, he does have his full Battle Fury now complete. It's sat in his stash just waiting to be delivered. When he gets that, we're looking for a massive acceleration in terms of his farm, and a very fast Manta, one would hope.
Invisrum picked up by the Queen of Pain, but it was spotted out by Raiden Observer Ward. He's going to walk around the corner straight into vision. He'll be able to blink out to safety, however, the chain lockdown just isn't there. There's a missile flying after him, and they'll keep on the pursuit, but getting recalled away by the Coddle. Blink, TP, and recall all going through. He's going to be home free, or by home, I mean in mid lane.
Edie tried to get that blink forward and catch the stun onto Necroman, but didn't quite manage to get it, and now this could be quite the easy tier 1 in that middle lane, if considering I don't think we're going to be able to see a rotation quick enough to stop this push if it's continued.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see a TP and the recall at the same time. Down towards bottom lane, Phoenix is going to be absolutely destroyed, isolated alone, will die, but at the very least he picked up his Midas beforehand, and the Beastmaster also going to die to the Queen of Pain. TP into the tower, Chill has the Battery Assault running, but this man fight, is it one that he can actually win? No, but Necroman will just blink out home to safety. The hookshot cooldown at level 1 is a little too long. It's still not up for another 10 seconds. By the looks of it, it seems the Clockwork's going to go for a Midas.
Indeed, and that seems a bit of an odd choice considering a Midas when you're behind in the game already. I don't feel like it's the right choice. I mean, an early 4-staff would let you have a bit more control of the lane and being able to 4-staff people into cogs or yourself out of if you need to get out of trouble. But a Midas, it means you're going to hope you can take the game late. And taking the game late against the Anti-Mage, I'm not too sure about.
Then again, Clockwork as a hero relies almost exclusively on levels for his individual scaling, although you can get really nice utility items like a 4-staff and the items that you mentioned. He functions in a similar way to the Phoenix, where you rely very heavily on getting your ultimate up, and I think this is a reasonable way about it. It's an 18-minute Midas. It's within the realm of possibility, I think.
It's possible, yes. I still have slight doubts, but we shall see if they can belay them, considering the level acceleration, as you point out, will be significant.
Smoke up coming out from Goomba. They're going to look to get aggressive now. They have all of their ultimates online and at the ready. If they catch a war onto a single target, the Beastmaster and the Lesh by themselves can kill most of the targets on the side of Burden United. Although, maybe not the Anti-Mage. Even though he doesn't have that many points into the spell shield, it has Blink, and they'll need a little bit more than just them two. They might be able to catch him out as he's farming Ancients. This is the best pickup that they could hope for. Let's see how good Sing Sing's reactions are. Not good enough. Yule sceptered up into the ground. The Split Earth is on the mark, and that's going to be the death of him, with Beastmaster securing it with the Roar nonetheless.
Indeed, and with that kill, it's going to just delay Sing Sing's Manta. In this case, he had opting for the Vladimir's first as well, so that's going to put the Manta back even further. But it seems it's all swings and roundabouts, as we do have the tier 1 tower going down in that top lane, which is to give them a good chunk of gold towards the Burden United lineup.
It's going to be nice, and also progresses the Queen of Pain towards the Black King bar, which will make her almost impossible to kill. They have a Beastmaster Roar and a hookshot to go through, but their actual damage to the BKB is the Gyrocopter's right clicks and Diabolic Edict. Neither are very impressive at the moment.
It'll only take a matter of time, though, for that Diabolic Edict to hit that level 4, and with that level 4 it can just shred towers, as we see a mid-tier 1 go down with that Leshrax's presence there.
Down towards bottom lane, Fire Spirits will connect onto a moment as well as the Gyrocopter call down return, but it's going to be the forfeit of life of the Beastmaster, and with the Mana Void, they cancel Gyro's TP too. That's going to be the end of Pasta's life, and Supernova dodges that last auto attack, keeping the Phoenix alive, although they don't necessarily get the Beastmaster, they get a bigger prize.
Indeed, and a moment is going to hobble away with hardly any health. He is being pursued by Minuts, and if he can get vision onto a moment, this could actually be a kill, considering the rotations in from Boogie, and he does have that Icarus dive. And then again, we've got Rectal lurking nearby, and, well, Singh, he wants to go aggressive here. Going to take down that Hawk, and, well, that split frost coming out of the Winter Wyvern is going to be more than enough to a good chunk of damage, and in comes the Icarus dive. One more right click. Sing will clean up the Beastmaster. Now they're looking for more. Can they get Rectal? He would be the ideal one, but instead they're going to split and go for Edie. Edie on that Rubik, he can't really survive this, but he does steal a blink. That's going to give him some form of survivability, but he'll still go down to the dot from Necroman. But in the backlines of this fight, you're still going to lose that Winter Wyvern, and Goomba do come out slightly ahead, considering it's a 3-for-2 trade.
The haste rune on the Leshrac absolutely saving their bacon. General Rectal was able to stay on the edges of the fight and not really in any position where he could get caught out. A pretty nice initiation from the Clockwork as well is going to mean that Goomba are happy with that exchange. They get an offlaner and 2 supports and only lose their support Beastmaster and support Rubik, so I think that ends up working nicely. Although, the difference is that Anti-Mage is able to farm immediately after the fact, and the Gyrocopter is getting a little bit less, so it's
indeed
very close to even.
Close to even, yes, but the extra time that Sing just got farming, I consider might be a slight edge towards him. Well, you got past trying a man up against Sing, but Sing is safe. Sing is tanky enough, and at this point he's just working towards that Yasha. When he gets that Yasha, his damage output is going to be quite high.
Another big item pickup, Come With Me, has found himself an Aghanim Scepter on the Keeper of the Light. He's just been quietly farming for a while, and now has the permanent recalls as well as the nice healing during the daytime. It's going to make it a lot easier for Burden United to siege when it comes time to do that. That time's probably when Anti-Mage gets his next 2 items, Manta Style +1.
I gotta admit, getting an early Aghanims on the...
Mule Scepter on the Queen of Pain. Will the Splitter be there? No, the BKB dodges it. They still have the Roar, but the damage isn't enough. It looks like Necroman might even be able to turn this one around. EDE, they don't even need the Mana Void for that Rubik kill, and they'll get it very easily. It is a 10-second BKB charge after all, so it could be worse for Goomba, but Burden United, that was a smoke gank that was fairly easily avoided. Oh, Blink in, looking for the jump onto General Rectal to have a way to cancel a TP. They don't even need it. They'll kill him with damage, and oh my goodness, they'll kill him with damage. How terrible is that? But either way, Burden United will find a really nice pickoff.
Indeed they will. Those 2 kills on the Rubik and that Leshrac are going to just add up in terms of the pressure Burden United can put towards the towers of Goomba. And we could be looking for that pressure coming towards that bottom lane, actually. If they can get some good damage on this tier 2, that's going to be quite nice. Then again, Boogie, he needs to at least be relatively careful. Mid lane, however, we do have that attempt on Come With Me's life, but in comes improvement. Necroman doing quite a bit of damage. If he gets right clicks through to continue like this, it's going to be a double kill for him. 1 jump forward, scream, that's a double kill for Necroman, and Come With Me stands. He still lives after all of this, and that's insane.
It definitely is. I wouldn't expect that. Maybe if it was daytime, if you get a heal coming out from Illuminate, but really good presence of mind to bring in the Queen of Pain and good team communication. Look at the high ground coming out from Sing Sing. He's going to be stuck here for a little bit, but it'll be fast enough. He'll go over and just farm up some Ancients in the meantime. Goomba are slowly and pretty reliably falling behind in all of the metrics. A lot of farm for the Queen of Pain, Anti-Mage, and even the supports are getting what they need. Phoenix is sitting on level 13, nearing that maxed out ultimate, which is incredibly scary. And even though the Wyvern doesn't have much to speak of, Wyvern doesn't really need it. As long as you have access to your Cold Embrace and your positioning is good, that's pretty much all you can ask for.
Yeah, and coming back to this Aghanims slightly on Come With Me, I got to admit, Aghanims on the Keeper of Light this early, it is one of the strongest, if not the strongest Aghanims upgrade in the game. The amount of control it can give you is insane. The ability to recall whoever you want, whenever you want. Always having the ability to recall and blinding light, always having the ability to heal with the illuminate during the daytime. It is quite nice.
I think the biggest thing is once you get a gem to back it up, the map control you can get while dewarding all of the words off the map during the day is absolutely crazy. Goomba are going to this game completely blind, if I'm not mistaken. They don't have a single ward on the map, and that's probably how it's going to stay. Although, even without wards, they'll look for a kill onto the anti-mage. He blinks over the sidelines, right into ED, lifted up. They have a ward to follow. Is the damage going to be enough? Do they have the battery assault? Do they have a hookshot? They will. Jamming it home in melee range, they'll find Sing Sing.
They had to commit a hell of a lot to get that kill, though. That was 2 ultimates and Rubik's presence needed as well. Still, it's a kill on the number 1 farmer in the game, so that's at least something, but that was a large investment of time and resources to do so.
100% worth it, but you're right. This is going to give some space for Burden United to push down for the tier 2 and bottom lane, and oh my goodness, poor Lishrak. Oh, Yule Scepter up, the Queen of Pain purging off the double damage rune, as well as buying him enough space to survive, but I'm not sure if this actually saves the tier 2. Burden United have committed 4 heroes in this bottom lane, and even without any great pushing heroes other than the Keeper of the Light, it should be enough.
To be fair, Keeper of the Light with that Aghanims, just keeping the creep wave alive is more than enough to push. But now, well, there's an Orchid onto Rectal. He could be in a bit of trouble, but no, there's a Telekinesis onto Necroman. BKB pop by him. You've got the Phoenix popping that Supernova as well. Chill, trying to do what he can, but no, he's going to be brought down by that Sonic Wave. Now looking for Necroman as well. Can they do anything about this? Rectal, one more right click will bring him down. Wicked Sick for Necroman. Make that a double kill, Wicked Sick, but he will go drop to a moment. And you've got Minuts in the backlines finally dropping. It's a 4-for-2 trade in favour of Burden United, and a moment is just getting melted down. And now they bring in Sing Sing at the end of this entire fight to clean up and push. This should be a tier 3 unless we see some buybacks as well. I mean, typical anti-mage contribution even added to the end. He came in, didn't do a thing, was just there for the AoE gold off of the Beastmaster.
They're going to be forced to buy back on the Beastmaster. This is at least a tier 3 tower for Burden United. That Supernova going off was absolutely crucial in that fight. Mostly set up by the Winter's Curse. Bailed him out completely. Poogie, that was a close call, but they're going to focus down the range barracks. They'll get the range barracks to Burden United, find themselves with quite a substantial lead after just that one good fight.
Yeah, and just being able to get that Rax is more than enough. A moment can't do anything on his own. He's trying to chase and hunt, but, well, come with me, he's not going to have any of that. He'll drop the mana leak, and a moment is just in a bad way, in all honesty. He has the blink dagger, but they can't really capitalize with it.
He tried for the lift onto the TPing out Keeper of the Light, but he'll make his way all the way back to base, and suddenly, Come With Me also has a Glimmer Cape on top of his Aghanim Scepter gem. This is an incredible amount of farm for the Keeper. In fact, he's only about 700 gold behind the Gyrocopter on the enemy side. That's scary. And in fact, his items, I think, mean more for the Burden United side than Gyrocopter's net worth. It's committed to a lot of mid-game items that alone don't really do much.
Well, Edie's going to get forced out by these illusions of Sing Sing, and that's just scary enough considering they could potentially kill him if he was to stand still. The terror of the anti-mage.
Yeah, it's already there. He's gonna go all the way back towards home, but in the meantime, they might be able to catch out Beastmaster Yule's up, I believe, by the Phoenix. But no follow-up is going to be there, and the Beastmaster will end up surviving. Still, Burden United have a great lead, and it's going to get even greater if they can kill off the Lishrak. He does have a Yule Scepter, and now with the hookshot, they're going to try to turn around onto the Queen of Pain. With the Lightning Storm, they'll get him. Very well played coming out from Goomba's side, well baited by the Lesh.
Indeed, just the hook shot into the split earth that's more than enough to bring down a overly zealous Queen of Pain. But now we've got an attempt on Roshan to Burden United, and with Sing Sing here, this will go down fairly quickly. Hell, the Aegis onto Sing will be quite the useful thing in this next fight.
Fortunately for them, it's not going to be daytime when they get this Aegis, so the Keeper of Light's heals aren't going to be available to them, but yeah, that's a free Roshan. Well, not necessarily free, they did lose the Queen of Pain beforehand, but with that space, at the very least, they got something out of it. Now he'll just go back to farming. I'm not sure if they want to push yet, maybe they'll apply some pressure onto the tier 2s, but I think you're going to wait for the next daytime and having another item up for Sing.
I should think that'll be the order of business, but now, well, Rectal gets caught out. That's a very bad place to be, and he gets turned into a mana bomb as well. This is the threat here. Come With Me can come in and do so much in terms of damage, and if he can find a target with low mana already, he just brings in Sing, and Sing will annihilate anyone with a mana void. Absolutely.
1,200 damage coming out from that ultimate, coming out from Sing Sing, and mostly set up by the mana leak. Anti-Mage came there, and there was already the fresh Lishrak. He's going to go ahead and just continue back farming, but in the meantime, mid lane, there's going to be a Supernova committed, and the attack speed just isn't there. A moment turned around upon, although he gets the roar into Boogie, it's not going to save his own life. He'll turn for as much damage as possible, but that's all she wrote. Anti-Mage now with the Basher is going to fly that out to himself, and it looks like Burden United are going to just go ahead and go for it. With Necroman sustaining them, they probably don't even need the daytime of the Keeper.
Indeed, the pressure that's coming out of Burden United right now, this should be more than enough to crack this top tier 3 at this rate with those 2 dead. But now jump in, ED in a bad way. This is the strength of the anti-mage. You just cannot risk getting caught out of position at all. Otherwise you'll just get manted and destroyed. And this is only with 2 points in the mana break as well. He could be doing an extra 24 damage on top of this for him. He just does not need it. In comes the hook shot onto my nuts, and he will actually get obliterated by the splitter. Queen of Pain does get a good sonic wave, and he's going to town on Rectal in the back lines. Will use himself up to buy a little bit of time, but no, one more right click will be enough, and in comes Sing Sing with that mana void. It will be a full 5-man wipe, and this is going to be a full top set of racks as well.
And probably bottom set of barracks too. The only one with buyback available is the gyrocopter, and what can he actually do with the buyback? He doesn't have call down, and he doesn't even have flak for 3 seconds. This is 2 barracks for Burden United, and it's getting so very close to GG territory. Goomba are just getting out-farmed and outplayed, in all honesty. The axes will fly through, but even if they kill off the AM once, he has Aegis. They'll try for it, roaring him down. Sing Sing's dropped below half health, but now Glimmered with a little bit of backup from Come With Me. He's going to be able to go aggressive again. They are going to lose the gem, picked up by the Leshrac, but the Leshrac can't stand here with the Queen of Pain and Anti-Mage both wailing on him. They get a bash, healed up by the Sunray. He's going to Yules to delay, but it's only going to do that. Forces Bloodstone Suicide. Now another bash onto a moment. Sing Sing is standing strong and will be for the foreseeable future, honestly. He's going to go strong onto a moment, and that's going to be the end of his life as a buyback from General Rectal is going to fly through. They have a Lightning Storm that's not going to be lethal by itself. He'll even be able to blink away, but oh my goodness, he doesn't even get the Aegis off of AM. He just can't die. They'll be able to kill off the Phoenix and the Aegis eventually now that General Rectal joins the fray, but with the BKB blink, maybe the Queen of Pain can survive, but no, a long-range hook shot. Nice angle from Chill is not going to save the Leshrac's life, however. Yeah, Sing Sing gets himself a triple kill. Cogs are going to bounce him back, but really it kind of feels like it's just formalities at this point. Burden United have such an advantage on the map. And it's not over yet. Hookshot in. It's going to catch onto the Anti-Mage. The Winter Wyvern's there with the curse, and Chill is going to be chilled to death. My goodness, the cleave damage over all of the creeps, and Sing Sing doesn't miss a beat. They'll buy back on the clockwork, but it feels
Sing
like
Sing's just going to town. He had 3 first hit bashes there on 3 different heroes. That's how insane his luck has been with those bashes. Hell, when that Rubik blinked up to that high ground, first hit bash, there's not the chance the Rubik could do anything then. But now, well, it seems the racks will fall. Fortification going to buy a little bit of time. In comes another TP from that Beastmaster. Gets a roar onto my nuts, but is that enough? Come with me, gets the cooldown on him, but it's nowhere near enough to survive. He tried everything with that Keeper of Light, and Pass is just chewing through heroes now. Down goes Minuts, and Sing Sing, forced to blink away. Does complete up that Abyssal Blade. Hookshot goes long, doesn't quite find the connection onto Sing Sing, though.
Sing Sing completes his Abyssal Blade and also reclaims the gem for his team, but the end takeaway is that now Goomba are 2 barracks behind, and they didn't win a fight after buying back. It's still advantage for Burden, and a huge one it is too, with 20,000 both net worth and experience. Sing Sing finds himself a regeneration room. Really, there's just nothing stopping him, with the exception being the teammates around him not being alive. Once they're up, they can probably just march down mid if they care to, or they could wait this one out. Burden United have plenty of room to grow on both the Queen and the Anti-Mage.
Yeah, there's just so many problems for Goomba right now. How do they deal with the Anti-Mage? How do they lock down the Anti-Mage and the Queen of Pain? There is so much mobility on these heroes from Burden United, and I can't really see an out as, well, Sing Sing's going to clean up an easy clockwork. He's not even breaking a sweat for these kills anymore. He's just got so much damage, so much control with an Abyssal Blade, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, you don't need luck anymore. He's mostly alone, but at any moment he could be called in by the Keeper of the Light. The Queen of Pain's incredibly map mobile. Burden United, this is smooth sailing for them. What would it take for Goomba to actually get back in this game?
I could only see them getting a dream combo, a roar into cooldown, killing off the Anti-Mage and locking down the Queen of Pain with the Rubik. They would need a perfect fight. And, well, they can try to get pickoffs. They do manage to get the Phoenix, but now, well, you're trying to kill a Queen of Pain who can turn around an Orchid, maybe even go for a counter kill, especially when you've got, well, Sing Sing lurking nearby, does have that Abyssal ready in 5 seconds. Going to go straight onto a moment. There's a bash, and they're just going to start chewing into the Beastmaster. He's going to have a very hard time surviving as soon as he comes out of this cold embrace. Not a chance. Cooldown, however, dropped. Trying to slow down the entire lineup of Burden United, but not a chance. And now Rectal just gets obliterated. He does get the Yules up, buying a little bit of time, but the Abyssal gets dropped onto Pass. And Pass, if he goes down on this gyro, there's going to be no way, really, for Goomba to survive this anymore. It's a full 5-man wipe once again, and Sing is still standing full health near enough.
Burton United looked shaky in their first game, but once they actually got all of their members of their team into the game, they were able to really look strong inside the series as a whole. 2-1. They're going to move on to face up against Moscow 5, still on the verge of being eliminated from the GameShow Invitational, but they still have hope. Unfortunately, however, for Goomba, they're out of it. That's going to be them eliminated.
Yeah, they're going to have to be very careful with the next game, I think.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining me, Mr. Blackadder. I've been GrandisV, and usually you'll find us over on HeflaTV Casting. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, and pretty much everywhere at HeflaTV, and the VODs we upload to youtube.com/Heflamoke. That rounds out the action here for the GameShow Invitational today. Thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you on some future broadcasts.